Anyone who tells you that things are going smoothly between China and Africa, well, they're just lying. So if you want to know how African people feel about China, well, how about you ask an African who has a lot of experience living in China? How about you ask me? I am African, I am South African, and I've seen how China operates in Africa. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. And I'm going to tell you why, yes, on the political level, you'll always see the presidents and the governments around Africa and China playing nice and pretending everything is okay and patting each other on the back. But in reality, Africa and China don't get along.
Like you guys all know, my views on China in Africa have always been very complicated because in one aspect, China has done a lot in Africa and for Africans. And in another aspect, China has also collected or exploited Africa like a lot. Like, if I were to give a balanced argument, I would say that China is getting more than they are putting in Africa. That is, they are getting more from Africa than what they are actually putting in. And I know most Chinese, especially their leaders, will dispute that, but that's just my own take. Most Chinese people will say that China is helping Africa. China is a friend of Africa. And China and Africa are in a kind of a relationship that is like win-win. And it has been very beneficiary for Africa. Yes, it has in some ways. That is a fact. But to say that China-Africa relationship is a win-win is a little bit of a stretch. Because we know there's nothing as a win-win. If you are the one who is always giving out something to the other person, if you are the one who, when someone has a problem, they call, then your relationship with them is never an equal relationship. No matter what anyone says, it's never an equal relationship. There's a video I want you guys to watch, and after you watch the video, then we can continue with this conversation. So watch.
And this is a massive win for the people of Kenya. And something you must understand about Africa is that governments in Africa, for the most part, are very corrupt. And there's no denying that. You can try your best to deny it, but you know what? We all know it's true. Everybody knows it's true. And when corrupt governments deal with China, which in itself is full of corruption and kickbacks and connections and guanxin, that's how it runs. I've seen with my own eyes. Everybody knows that's the way it runs. When these two meet together, it's kind of like mafias shaking hands. They're very happy to work with each other because they operate in very similar fashions. This, of course, has an incredibly detrimental effect on the people of those countries because the governments are the ones in charge. The governments can make all the decisions. The governments are corrupt, but the people cannot change that. So, of course, the government officials know that they'll get millions of dollars, they'll get fancy cars, they'll have lots of money, they'll be able to do whatever they want because of these lucrative deals with China. But the average person on the street sees nothing of that and actually suffers even more because of these corrupt deals.
Like I have said in the beginning of this video, that China in Africa has its positive side and also its negative side. And you can see how Africans are now saying that certain things should not be carried out by the Chinese. In that, I am in support 100% because I have lived in China and there are so many things that foreigners cannot do in China. So, For someone like me who have lived in China and have seen all these things, when I look the way Chinese operate in Africa, I'm kind of like confused because they can do whatever they want to do. I mean, whatever they want to do. And they are involved in all sectors in the country: business, mining, importing, even sales in local markets, which I think that it makes it difficult for the locals to have anything to do. Take, for example, like you saw in the video, right? The people, the Chinese will import stuff from China and then sell directly to the customers, which by so doing, cut out the middleman. Now, it's beneficiary to the customers because they can get stuff as cheaply as possible, but it has cut a lot of jobs and income for a lot of people. The Chinese know how to get these stuffs from China very, very cheap. The Chinese get a lot of subsidies, support from their government, and they can ship those items to Africa as cheaply as possible, sometimes little to nothing. And then they can now sell as cheaply as possible. But then they have cut out the middleman. I believe that there should be certain things that are reserved for citizens. There should be laws in place that protects Africans. There should be laws in place that make sure that foreigners do not get involved in every single thing within the country. We must look out for the nationals, which in Africa, I think that is really, really difficult to find or to get because you know how corrupt our African leaders are. I have said it many times on this show that African leaders are one of the most corrupted leaders in the whole world. They are so corrupt. In fact, the level of their greediness and selfishness and wickedness is something beyond comprehension. And when these Chinese people come to Africa, they know what to do. They know how to bribe every single leader in Africa to get what they want to get. And now the African people are left struggling. This is really bad. So I hope this issue in Kenya would be like an eye-opener for many other countries to follow suit. Now, I am not against China or the Chinese coming to Africa. I think trading with China or trading with the Chinese is a great thing, but there must be rules and regulations in place that can help protect the nationals, that can ensure that the nationals are not just sidelined and then the Chinese will not have to deal directly with the customers. There have to be certain rules in place that prohibit Chinese or foreigners from engaging in certain activities. But you guys out there, what do you think about this whole Chinese involvement in Kenya? And in your home country, what is your view and opinion about China and the Chinese in relation to your country and your leaders? Let us know in the comment section below because, like always, we love hearing what you have to say. And also, please do not forget to like this video, share this video, follow our Facebook page, and most importantly, subscribe to this YouTube channel because little deed of goodwill, like the one you are doing just now, help us a lot and we shall ever be grateful to you. So thank you very much for doing just that. And like always, see you in the next one.